The equilibrium level of output, the inflationary and deflationary gap, and the level of output at full employment will be explored one at a time. First, we will examine the neoclassical view of equilibrium in the ADAS model. Figure 1, where PLE denotes the equilibrium price level, and YE denotes the equilibrium level of real GDP. As we are all aware, the level of real GDP is intimately tied to the amount of unemployment in the economy. When real GDP rises, firms hire more workers, and unemployment falls. When real GDP declines, firms require fewer workers, and unemployment rises. As a result, the equilibrium level of real GDP regulates the amount of unemployment in the economy. The economy is out of balance at all pricing levels and real GDP levels, other than PLE and YE. When there is an excess of quantity supplied, at price level PL1, it exerts downward pressure on the price level, which declines until it hits PLE. When there is an excess of quantity demanded at a price level lower than PLE, such as PL2, there is upward pressure on the price level, which rises until it reaches PLE. At PLE, the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, so a short-run macroeconomic equilibrium exists. Figures 2 and 3 and 4 depict three types of short-run macroeconomic equilibrium scenarios for the economy. All are defined in reference to the economy's potential GDP, or the level of real output, GDP, at full employment, where unemployment equals the potential rate of unemployment. We shall now examine the second scenario of the ADAS recessionary, or deflationary gap from a neoclassical and classical perspective. Figure 2 shows equilibrium real GDP, YE, to the left of potential GDP, YPT. When real GDP falls below potential GDP, the economy is in a recession, which is also referred to as a deflationary gap, and unemployment exceeds the potential rate of employment. What causes this to happen? The recessionary gap exists because the amount of real GDP that the four components of aggregate demand desire to buy at the price level of PLE is less than the economy's potential GDP. There is insufficient total demand in the economy for businesses to produce potential GDP. This also implies that businesses demand less manpower for output, so unemployment is higher than the potential rate. We shall now look at the third scenario of a neoclassical model associated with a classical perspective on the ADAS model, that is, the inflationary gap. In Figure 3, equilibrium real GDP, YE, is to the right of potential GDP, YPT. When real GDP exceeds potential GDP, there is an inflationary gap, and unemployment is lower than the potential rate of unemployment. The amount of real GDP that the four components wish to buy at the price level, PLE, is more than the economy's potential output, resulting in an inflationary gap. When there is too much overall demand in the economy, firms respond by generating more real GDP than potential GDP. Firms' labor needs rise as output rises, and unemployment decreases to less than the potential rate of unemployment. Finally, the full employment level of output in the ADAS model will be evaluated from both a classical and a neoclassical standpoint. Figure 4 depicts equilibrium real GDP as being equal to potential GDP. When the economy is producing its full potential GDP, unemployment equals the potential rate, and there is no recessionary or inflationary gap. At this point, the economy's actual GDP equals its potential GDP, and unemployment is at its potential rate.